Well, hello everybody, it's Jeff from Meeple Who Game again, and this is my favorite time of the year. I save all my horror, Halloween, and scary games to play in October. However, I only get 4 weekends to play it in, so I gotta make sure I play all of them as fast as I can with all the people that I love. So I'm gonna kind of go through some of the ones as to what I like, why I like them, and you'll find out that the most important thing is theme, right? If it can get you sucked into the theme, if it's kind of scary, spooky, a lot of interaction and having really good stories is what makes it really cool. And you'll also find out that there's a lot of zombies in a lot of these games. So without further ado, let's look at some games. All right, so number 12 on my list as a notable mention is One Night Ultimate Werewolf. Great little game. You can play with the kids. The kids have been playing it in camp. Everyone gets a hidden roll. Things happen at night. You switch cards around, and then you kind of talk about who did what last night, and then you see who the werewolf's and you sort of vote. So a little bit of tension, kind of cool theme. I like it. It's an easy, light one to play. Oh, this one's a lot bigger. Zombicide. I love Zombicide, but it's number 11 because it's not that great thematically for Halloween. Yeah, you get to kill zombies and you get to level stuff up, but it's really just a dungeon crawl, hacking around and slashing stuff, but zombies come at, so the theme's cool. I just played with another family, and they're not even gamers, and they really liked it. We had kids jumping up from on the table when we brought out some of the bad guys, and we killed them with dragon stuff. This one is better than the original Zombicide because it already has player trays that come with it. You can move the little sliders, and also they fixed the mechanic where if you shoot and you miss, you actually don't kill your own person, which is really cool. So, and there's a lot of minis to paint. All right. Number 10 here. Started playing with this years ago with the kids. Fearsum Floors by Friedman Freeze. Everything's green with him, starting with F's. The guy that makes Power Grid. Obviously, it's just like the same game. Not at all. You get a board and you get tokens to flip around, and everyone gets, I think, 7 actions. So you move 3 and 4. When you flip the other side, you get 2 and 5. And you're just moving along a grid, and the monster is chasing you. So you're trying to hide behind things, and that gets somebody else eaten. There's blood to spill on. So the theme's cool. It's really light. Great family fun game if you want, without it being too scary, to get the kids involved. Right. Hit Z Road is my number 9 favorite horror game. The artwork on here is awesome. It's about a kid that takes a trip after the zombie apocalypse hits, more zombies, and goes from Chicago to the West Coast in California. But he made this game along his journey, right? So a lot of the things are like Coke bottle buttons you get to use. Some of the player cards and name tags are like things that you'd find old credit cards, frequent buyer cards and stuff. It's sort of, you roll dice, you kill zombies. If you don't roll enough, then you die off, and some of the people in your party die. Pretty light. It's more about the wagering, the betting, and if you bet more, you get to pick the road that's easier or to get better stuff out of it. Pretty cool. Good theme. Plays in about an hour. It's fun. All right, number 8, The Bloody Inn. This game is all about the theme. You are people that are running a hotel in France, I believe, and the point of it is to steal people's money. So when they stay in your hotel, you can draft them into your hand and help. Then they'll be accomplices, or you can murder them, and then you get their gold. But you only get their gold if you bury them. The problem is that if you don't have the bodies buried by the end of the round, and if there's a police officer out there, then you actually have to pay the gravedigger $10 to hide the body, and you lose the coins from the person. So it's a lot of hand management and planning out your steps and your rolls. It's cool. The theme, the scary hotel. Probably not for kids, though. It's a little too dark. All right. Ancient Terrible Things. This is our number 7 game. As you can see, a lot of tentacles, a lot of Cthulhu type in the world of H.P. Lovecraft. Dice rolling and dice manipulation. 6 or 8 locations out there, and depending on what you want to try to accomplish, you have 6 dice, and each location will tell you what you have to do to get the points. Obviously, the more points, it's harder to roll it. It'll be poker hands, kind of 3 of a kind, roll a straight, roll a full house. And then you can re-roll the dice again, but then you start leveling up by buying things that'll help you. One will be you can get a red dice, which allows you to keep them by its same. A blue dice, which you can increase by 1 or 2, depending on if you pay these other tokens that you start acquiring. And there's also the market where you get to buy stuff that'll help you throughout the game. So it's dice rolling, dice manipulation, but the theme is very cool. The artwork is amazing. It's like an old comic book. So it definitely fits the theme, and it's cool. All right, on to the next one. Thank you, helper. Arkham Horror, the card game. Obviously, Arkham Horror, H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu, Elder Gods. This game is completely card-driven, which at first kind of turned me off. So it's a deck builder where you have some things. Everyone starts with cards that are specific to your character, but then as you progress through it, you get points to upgrade your cards and increase your hand. Really tight theme, kind of scary. The only thing I don't like about it is there's a lot of little unique rules, so if you haven't played it for a while, you gotta make sure you have a refresher. But each scenario kind of builds. You can play the campaign where if you end the campaign with trauma, you'll start the next one with trauma. If your character dies off, then they're out of the campaign and you gotta start up with a new character. But the theme fits. It's fun to play. It comes with a 2-player in one game. If you get another starter deck, because you have the starter cards, then you can play it with 3 or 4. So, pretty cool. 5. City of Horror. This is our number 5 game. Strange little game. There's 6 locations, and you get 3 or 4 people. You put them out there, and at the end, at each turn, you reveal what location you want to move one person to, and you do that 5 times. Doesn't seem like much of a game, except zombies start spawning in all the areas, and it ends up being negotiation. You need to negotiate if there's more zombies out there, who's going to use their cards to actually take care of the zombies so they don't eat, and then you also negotiate who splits what goods are at that location, and also then you also get to negotiate who's going to get thrown to the zombies if they overrun the area. So it's only 5 moves, but the negotiation is so tight, the tension keeps building that you don't want to die off, that you need an antidote, otherwise the helicopter comes in the 5th round and you don't get taken away. So the antidotes are so precious. But if you're not going to be able to get an antidote, then you may as well sacrifice your person to be able to negotiate for something better. Really tight. We've had people kind of walk away, know that we're getting into. It can be very cutthroat. You cannot negotiate at all and just throw people away because majority rules, and you can make promises. Theme, tension, really, really fun. But like I said, it's not for everybody. Oh, Last Night on Earth, one of the first horror zombie games that I got. This is by Flying Frog. They got a lot of cool artwork. This game is basically playing a horror movie. If you don't know, there'll be scenarios. You got to find a key. You got to find gasoline by searching different areas, and then you have to get to the truck and drive away before the zombies get you. People will play the zombies. You can have up to 2 people playing the zombies and up to 2 people playing the heroes. So it's kind of zombies are being controlled, and you get cards each round to use extra zombie abilities, and then heroes also get to play their part as well. And you kind of go back and forth, and then you battle and roll some dice. The best thing about this is if you ever don't know what to do, you just kind of think, what would happen in a movie and how would the zombies react? There's one where you get overrun and zombies show up. So you dump zombies in that room because you didn't realize they were hanging in the closet. If you're not sure, how would the movie play out? And that's kind of what you do. Very cool, very thematic, especially since you're playing both sides and you can take turns. Oh man, there goes Loomis. What do you got, 3? Number 3, probably my favorite, most thematic game ever. It's just a book, right? It's a book that you play a horror story. It's a single-shot role-playing game. The reason it's number 3 is because somebody has to do the work to be the game master, and that kind of is pretty stressful. I've been trying to play this as a game master for about 3 years now. I made a kid version of it, and it worked really well. Basically, you play with a tumbling tower. I happen to have the branded one here, which is great. Or I'm going to play in the near future with my giant one that I made out of 2x4s in the backyard. If ever something needs to be done in the game, instead of rolling a d20 like a Dungeons & Dragons, you pull a piece out of the Jenga tower. You can make it as difficult and tense as you want. You can say you have to pull 2 pieces in 10 seconds and then put it back, otherwise something bad happens. You can say the first piece that you touch, you have to pull or something bad happens. If the tower gets more and more precarious, as more stuff is pulled out as the story goes along, if the tower falls over, that character dies. That's it. All right, so you just keep going, and as a game master, if it's kind of easy going, you can tell them to make more pulls. Every time you want to do something, make a pull. You want to inspect over there, hear a noise, make a pull. if somebody wants to save the game and they're going to die anyway, they can make a heroic save and they'll tumble the tower and then they do something great in the game. Their character dies off, but they help out everyone else that lives. I still remember the game I played 4 and 5 years ago where my wife was hiding out in the hospital behind a gurney and I snuck up behind the zombie and I missed because I couldn't pull the piece out. Ended up knocking the zombie over the gurney and it mauled her character and she died. That was 4 or 5 years ago and I still remember it because you're so sucked into the theme and the tension of it. It's great. The problem is somebody has to run the story and that's kind of hard to get someone to do. But besides that, it's awesome. Number 2, Mansions of Madness. So these are some of the minis that come in the game that I painted. It's fantastic. The downside of it is the games take between 2 and 4 hours, which is kind of long if you want to get a quick game in. This is version 2, so it's tablet driven. It will tell you what to put down, what tiles to use, where you have search icons, where the monsters are spawning, and then you run the tablet and interact with it. So it's very story driven. It'll tell you, you smell something in the kitchen, you go in and you hear a sound. So as you click on things, it's very story driven. You really get into the theme. I have a tablet and I hook it up to the TV so that way everybody in the game room can see what's going on. There's also puzzles that fall into it. You have expansions you can buy, so more and more stories. It's very cool. Definitely Cthulhu. You can see I got Cthulhu right there. So he hasn't come out yet, but some of these elder gods have. It's fantastic. Like I said, the only downside is the games are long, but that's because it's worth it. And my number 1 horror themed game to play is You Are the Maniac. This thing is just straight theme. If you watched 80 slasher movies, every one of those tropes is in here. They made it look like an old VHS cassette thing with rough corners. Got this one from Kickstarter. It's very similar to the game Guillotine, where you're trying to move people in order and then you kill the person. They were broken into 3 different phases. Well, they call it a trilogy. And there's the girl at the end basically like Scream, and if she gets away, she shows up in the sequel. And if they get away again, they show up in the 3rd movie, the sequel. They got the jock, they got the bimbo, they got the geeks and the nerds, and that's actually what they're called, and you collect them. And they have all the Jason and the Freddy claws and the mask. And we play it that if you get, the mask for Michael, and you also get the knife to kill somebody with together, then you get a bonus point because you completed the set. So just the theme, it's like you're playing an 80s horror. It's not scary, there's no tension, but they put a lot of work into this and it makes me feel like Halloween. So there you have it. Those are all great games to play if you want to get into the theme for Halloween. And thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or you got other comments, let me know and I'll get back to you. Thanks. Game on.